Wanted to catch up. You said you wanted to record, so I just hit the record button if you want to share anything. Happy
All
to.
good, all good.
Good to
Awesome.
see.
Thank you so much.
I met Tom Preston in San Francisco, and he was very happy about you.
Wow. I mean, I just spoke to him yesterday night. I showed him all the updates we have. To be honest, I think, our product has, I'd say mini pivoted, I mean, I'll kind of show you exactly how we've done that. And I spoke to Tom yesterday. He was super happy about it. He said, we've significantly reduced our scope. And I've also been focusing the past couple of months on, aggressively hiring and scaling the team because, an issue I was facing was that, it was just so hard to find developers to build this platform with. And I mean, over the past few days, in fact, like 4 hours, I just recruited another engineer to like just join us. So we're aggressively kind of expanding the team. Obviously, we're trying to do it sustainably, but we're I'm kind of reaching out on every channel I can to find amazing engineers to onboard to the platform and also obviously join us as the and obviously like join the team, right? So yeah, so I mean, I would love to tell you a bit more about what we've been working on, the mini pivot that we've also done, and before that, I just want to quickly show you the stuff we've shipped since like the previous time we spoke. So most of this have actually been on the public side in terms of like what we've been working on because we want to get like a good landing page to put out there. And over here, I mean, currently we have more than 600 developers on the wait list. I think that's more 700 at this point. But we launched the new landing page over here, if you can see. So I use Framer to build this. So basically, we have this landing page. It's live at Dimension.dev. We also shipped a new blog over here, and that's going to be actually public pretty soon. We're announcing a fundraise finally. So here, this is our careers page. I'd say is probably more important. So we have like a tiny carousel which shows you a few images about the platform. We talk about the problems we're solving. We have the team. I mean, I'm slowly yet to update everything over here. But we also have our investors, and we also have the positions we're hiring for, and we also have our blog. So I'm currently working on this. But yeah, so we're also working on this. So we've shipped all of this, over the past couple of months. I'd say actually, I mean, most of this, almost all of this has just been shipped this month. So I would also want to show you, before I go ahead, I want to give you a quick refresher on the platform. You can see my whole screen, right?
I can see your arc window. I don't know about your whole
Oh,
screen.
okay, let me just share my full screen. Here we go.
But by the way, I just adopted Arc myself. It's great.
Oh yeah, awesome. Arc is amazing. I love it a lot because like all these tiny interactions and spaces and stuff. It all adds up. It's a fantastic experience.
Yeah, you have to learn a lot of design things from them. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Absolutely. Awesome. So again, just to give you a very, very quick refresher on the flow. So you join Dimension by signing in with GitHub, right? After that, what you can do is you can go ahead and create a realm. A realm is like our fancy way of calling things projects. So over here, you can go ahead and add in a name. Your realm URL will be accessible at dimension.dev/ABC. You can select your visibility and your tagline and hit create, right? And by the way, this is all done, like in terms of like the stuff I'm going to show you right now is actually done. And I'll be showing you, what we've been working on. We've actually been working on, this core platform part for around a couple of weeks at this point. And I'll be able to show you the progress we made on that front, and I also have some other exciting stuff to share. So just to give you, so again, that's the very quick overview of the flow. You just need to link your repository after you create a realm. You like basically link a repository from GitHub by either selecting an organization and selecting a repository, or creating a new one in which you select the organization you want to create your repository under. Select your visibility license. You can select a starter and just you can enter, and it's going to be able to create that repository and automatically link it to your specific realm. Now, after that, what you can do is you can go ahead and, or obviously, so I want to show you this. And actually, before I talk to you about this, I want to tell you a bit more about our mini pivot. So previously, when I was talking to you, I told you that we're trying to build an incredibly well integrated platform where we build and ship tools and developers can use them and they synchronize and work with each other really, really well. Now Dimension has changed a bit, and as we spoke to our customers, we kind of figured out that what they're looking for is a better way to integrate their existing tools rather than build new tools, or rather than rather than use new tools to build and deploy. And what we understood from them, I spoke to, and by the way, these are some new projects that are on our waitlist. We have the Tauri board on our waitlist. We have Astro, we have Solid.js, and we have Starship and a bunch more who are also joining us as our launch customers. But basically, the idea over here is that developers wanted a platform that integrated really, really well with their existing tools, rather than them having to, migrate to using new tools, right? And that's when we actually decided that, hey, we want to make this a platform that instead of where we build our own tools. And to be honest, when we started looking into the logistics of building and deploying multiple different tools on our own, it would be pretty challenging for us to be able to even maintain feature parity with dedicated companies like Vercel, Railway, and these other amazing companies that are just doing that one thing, right? So we decided that we want to integrate with these platforms rather than build our own, developer tools and integrate them with each other, and that allows us to innovate in the space that we really want to, which is just purely focusing on the developer experience and productivity. So I want to show you that's some insight into the mini pivot, and that means that we don't need to build our infrastructure for a lot of these services. I'm going to show you. So here, this is our code explorer, and I'm kind of working on this. But you can see over here, you can jump to a file. We're gonna link that to Command P, like VS Code. This is also, like a pop-up when you search for stuff. I'm still working on the UI. I just recently added this. So you can also see file tabs, commit author. This is something that we just implemented, and I'm gonna be able to show you that. So you can also see split view over here. You're going to be able to see diffs as you should be able to. And I'm not going to show you the rest because there's some really, really cool features that I want to show you. And it's best it's best when I just show functionality. So let me just go ahead and show you the just kind of before I show you this, I just wanted a disclaimer, which is that a lot of the UI is not finalized. Like, for example, this model isn't even going to be on the final app. So a lot of this is just makeshift stuff because we basically use micro front ends, and we have to integrate everything into the main platform. So we're basically building the code explorer separately, our deployment platform separately, etc. So over here, the idea is you auth with GitHub. And from here on is where you can start looking at our UI and our experience. So I'm going to go ahead and select two repositories that I have over here. These are one is something that I've used to demo something pretty cool in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the same thing on GitHub in terms of the commit history tree, which is what we've actually we've primarily been focusing on that, and we're currently working on the actual code explorer, the code editor. But over here, you can see on GitHub that I'm using conventional commits over here. I have favorite blog API, whatever, right? So I have commit messages, and I'm using conventional commit as a commit style. Now you can also see I have emojis, and I also have inline code in my actual commits, right? Now, when we see this on Dimension, I'm just going to go ahead and open this. First of all, you can see we're using the material file icons. So, now you can finally view your files with actual icons similar to VS Code. And kind of as I show you this with the larger repository, you're also going to be able to see that the overall experience is way faster. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And what you can notice over here when I go ahead and click on history is that you can see that we've been able to format these conventional commits to be able to display them as tags. And that's so much better for readability, right? So over here now you can see that it says it's revert and the scope is blog and is also breaking changes, right? I can also see emojis over here that are also rendered. And you can also see your code, your inline code that is also displayed over here. So you can also view the same information you can view on GitHub. I'm going to go ahead and hit the verified button. It's going to show me my GPT ID as well as the author. And when I go ahead and, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to start with opening Electric, which is one of my largest repositories. You can see that the experience is pretty much instant, right? I know GitHub has been, I know GitHub released their code view beta, and I've also been using it, and it's definitely better than, their previous file tree. But I just feel like this is way faster as an experience. And, it's also, it's also just it also has file icons, and it's just thinking more about the experience for developers. So if I go ahead and open this over here, you can split between, you can switch between tabs. We're still working on it right now. We just started the editor 3 days back. But over here, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to open my history to show you a deeper tree. So here you can see that we've actually implemented some functionality on top of or like beyond what the commit history explorer on GitHub is able to do. So what you can see over here is that I can go ahead and search commits, but before that, I'm going to show you pagination. You can view older commits, newer commits, etc. It's way faster to kind of navigate through. What you can also do is you can start kind of browsing through commits, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and search an author. This is something like this is a project I've worked on like a very long time back. So I'm going to just filter by one of my cringe usernames that I used to have. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. And now you can see that it's filtered on my commits by that. And you can also see that, we're currently working on this, but you'll be able to open this, using like using A or like a keyboard shortcut like that, right? Our platform was built for keyboard navigation. It's built with all of that in mind. And, it's definitely not an afterthought in this case, where we're first working on the core functionality. You can also filter by status. In this case, my previous commits, I probably didn't set up check ones. So I'm going to go ahead and filter by my latest commits. I'm going to go ahead and select, status. Over here, you can see, if I hit S, it's going to open this up. I can type success, and it's going to go ahead and can select that for me. I think that's a small bug in which it doesn't select the correct item. We have to fix that. But basically, the idea is you can just type in some text. Yeah, and there you go, right? You can see you can just select it and you can hit enter and it should be able to select it for you. And what you can see over here is that I can go ahead. This is a small bug we have right now, but you'll be able to see the check runs as you will with GitHub, and it's going to link you to the actual check run on GitHub. You're also going to be able to filter by name if I, for example, want to filter even better colorization fixes, for example. I can see that. I can also search older commits, and it's going to filter all my commits. So that's the search functionality in the Code Explorer. It's a much better and faster way to browse through code and just understand check runs, etc. So I also want to show you split view. I'm not completely certain if that's been deployed yet. Yeah, okay, it hasn't been deployed yet, but essentially, it's the same thing as the Figma. You'll be able to see your files side by side. We're also working on enhancing the actual editor over here. You should be able to, get some decent auto completion, hopefully some better syntax highlighting. And we're not trying to make this like code spaces or like a dedicated kind of editor on the web. It's more like a makeshift editor, like what GitHub offers to also just quickly browse through code and review changes. But we're also trying to make it a good experience. So that's in a nutshell the work we've been done, or like the work we've been doing over the past, I'd say couple of weeks. This is what we've been able to do so far. I'm also going to show you the actual core platform. So I'm going to go ahead and, so this is just, again, a lot of this is just very much a work in progress, right? This is like the earliest stages of this. So I'm going to go ahead and, I can view all my different realms over here on the sidebar. I'm going to go ahead and create a new realm. I'm going to call it fleet. This is ideally like going to be like video demonstrating the flow. We're probably going to work on that soon. I can go ahead and hit enter. It's going to create the project, if you can see over here. Also, just a note, in the past couple of weeks, not only did we also build, the actual kind of the Code Explorer, we also completely migrated our tech stack to use Next.js. So we were already using Next.js, but now we're using Tailwind, Prisma, and PlanetScale, along with TRPC as well. So over here, I'm just going to go ahead and open the settings, since that's what we've been kind of working on for now. We're obviously going to implement skeleton loaders and stuff as soon as we kind of wrap up the basic functionality. But what I can do over here is, I can go ahead and kind of select. I can go ahead and like select a logo over here. So for example, if I just add this, you'll be able to see we actually use Cloud for Images for this, and it's going to be able to load this up. And it's going to be able to refresh it. And you should see over here that it's now updated on the sidebar. I can also go ahead and, I can go ahead and change the URL if I want to. I can also go ahead and add a tagline, hello, can hit enter, and it's going to save it. So that's, in a nutshell, what we've been working on. We actually currently almost wrapped up the permission management system. Currently, we're making it really, really easy. Like we're just making it a basic system in which you have admins and members, right? In the future, we obviously do want to extend it a bit more to allow more sophisticated permission scopes. But for now, I think this, especially given that this is an MVP and like we're not trying to make this like an enterprise ready product just yet. We just have basic permissions in which you have administrators and you have members, and you can control who has access to what. So that's in a nutshell what we've been working on in terms of actual implementation side, but there's been a lot more progress on the designs and, and like the rest of the platform. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what we've been working on. So as I showed you on the Code Explorer, now this is where the magic comes in. So you can obviously follow like an organization. Again, in the future, we plan to build it more socially as a platform. And we've actually made some very interesting decisions that hopefully kind of I'll be able to show you in terms of like how we've been able to kind of accomplish that and kind of pivot towards or kind of work towards a more social future for this platform. But over here, you can go ahead and follow the organization. You can start it as you should be able to. You can go ahead and hit the commit button, type in commit message, select your branch and hit enter. It's going to push your unsaved changes over here directly to your GitHub repository. You can also go ahead and hit the deploy button. This is where our integration starts. So previously our deploy button was going to be able to deploy onto our own service, onto our own deployment platform. Instead, now you can select a deployment provider and you can deploy it to kind of Vercel or Netlify. So over here, if you go ahead and check this out, you'll be able to select a deployment tool. If you've already connected them kind of through OAuth using either Vercel or Netlify, you can just go ahead and select it, hit deploy, or you can also go ahead and select a deployment tool. For example, if you haven't connected Netlify, you go ahead and select it. You can go ahead and then enter an API key, or you can go to the OAuth flow and then you can deploy it for you. Now you can also do the same thing through the CLI, and I've actually built the CLI so far, and I can showcase that to you in a bit, but I want to kind of go through the rest of the platform very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'm going to skip through chat for now, and I'm going to show you domain management. So this is how you can connect Cloudflare to be able to manage your domains directly on our platform. You go ahead and enter your Cloudflare API key. Obviously, we hope to extend this to just like just simple OAuth integration with Cloudflare in the near future. I think we need to be a partner with them for that. But over here, you can go ahead and you can enter your API key. You can hit connect. After that, you can go ahead and so what we're going to do is so if you already have integrated the platform like Vercel, and so actually I think before I show you this, I think it's best I show you the deployment platform, because I think that would I'd be able to explain this a bit better after I show you that. So over here, you can go ahead and see that you can manage all your deployments under the Cloud tab. You can just go ahead and hit deployments. Over here, what you can do is you can basically see all your deployments across all your different tools. If you have deployment on Vercel, you can see it over here. Netlify, you can see it over here, Railway, etc. Right? So you can see all your deployments in one place. We also plan to add tags so you can filter these deployments in the near future. But you basically be able to see all your deployments in one place, along with also like a status, which is indicated by this kind of green dot over here. So when you click on one of these, you can go ahead and see all the information for the specific deployment. For example, you can see there's an overview, deployments, environments, monitoring, analytics, domain settings, etc. You'd also be able to view your build logs, and you'd also be able to kind of see, again, right, build logs and assigning domains, and everything you can already see from Vercel or Netlify. You can also obviously, deploy. So what I can show you over here is that you'll be able to import deployments. If you want to import from Vercel, in case you don't want to do it through the CLI, you can go ahead and say import from Vercel or Netlify. Go ahead and select the deployment you want to import and hit connect. What that's going to do is it's going to essentially add it to your list over here. And after that, you can also manage your integrations from the integration tab. And you can also deploy a repository. So you can select where you want to deploy to, select your organization, select your repository, and hit deploy. So that's a deployment platform. And now I can go back to our domain management to give you better context. So we're trying to build this platform, and we want to make everything magical. Now, one example of how we're trying to make this, just one very, very tiny feature we're implementing is that if you've already integrated Vercel or Netlify, or any other service you deploy with, or multiple of them, essentially what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to check which domains you have on Cloudflare and which domains you're deploying on with Vercel or Netlify. Automatically identify which ones you probably want to import, right? So like it kind of feels like magic in terms of like the developer does nothing, but we instantly import all the domains that are actually relevant to them, right? And that kind of they're deploying with. So you can go ahead or also if you want to, you can add domains by going ahead and connecting them. And after that, you can manage your DNS from our platform. Since we're integrated with Vercel and Netlify and these other deployment platforms, what we can do is you can go ahead and hit link deployment, and you can just go ahead and select a deployment from Vercel or Netlify or some other platform you want to link to, and that's going to automatically add DNS records for you, right? So no need to go to Vercel, go to Cloudflare, paste it, go back to Vercel, check if it updated, right? We just do it all for you. You can also manage again. I think we probably need to be like we probably need to figure out our partnership with Cloudflare for this, but we're also trying to add the ability to be able to to configure DNS settings and all these basic information directly from our platform instead of having to go to Cloudflare to manage it. So that's for domain management. Now to the most exciting part of our pivot, in my opinion, and that's chat. So like it's very early, and I've been just working on these designs, as we speak. But essentially, what you can see over here is that we have, we have basic communication. You just open the chat tab over here. You can go ahead and select either team or or DM, and you can go ahead and communicate with your engineers. And what you can do over here is that the previews that you see on kind of Dimension are beyond, just like the OG embed sent back from Linear. It's we are able to integrate with the Linear API, and we're able to fetch sophisticated data about that specific issue when someone pastes it. So what we can do is we can in turn display, who the creator of the issue is, the status, the priority, the team, etc. And when you click on this, Dimension is built to remove context switching from your workflows. So when you actually click on this, or I mean, if you click anywhere but this button, which takes you to Linear, when you click over here, it's going to open like a very like a nice modal over here, and through that you'd be able to instantly see all the information you need instead of having to go linear. You can wait for the page to load and kind of go back to Dimension once you've seen the issue. You can just kind of you can just click on it once. It's like a quick preview, it just pops up, see all the information you need, and just close it, right? You can also we're doing the same for Figma. We're also doing the same for Vercel with Vercel deployments and Netlify deployments as well. And I'll tell you something about like Netlify deployments in a second that I find pretty exciting. So over here, you can see with Vercel, we generate the embed. It tells you which team is deployed under, it which individual deployed it. You can also, and actually I kind of missed this over here. You can hit the edit button, and instead of having to go to Linear and kind of make the change, if you, for example, want to change your status from in progress to done, you just hit edit over here. This bottom section is going to become editable, and you just kind of change the progress from just change the status from in progress to complete, right? It's just a drop down directly over here. That kind of removes the need for you to go go to an external website and wait for it to load, change it, and then kind of get back, right? And that's obviously context switching. And if you're doing it multiple times a day, it gets annoying and it obviously wastes your time. So you can also do that over here. You just hit edit, you can promote to production. One more thing we have is, we're also trying to integrate with platforms like Google Meet, Zoom, Loom, etc. Right? So all your async messaging and communication requirements. One very exciting thing that we can do, and so we can do this for any Netlify user and any Vercel team. Essentially, when you're deploying and kind of when you paste like a deployment URL, for example, what we can do is we can stream the deployment logs in real time directly to your chat. So, instead of you having to go to Vercel to see what the status of the deployment logs are, you can literally just see the logs in real time as they happen, right? So if someone triggers a deployment, we ideally have like the equivalent of like a Vercel bot or like a Vercel integration over here that's going to automatically say deployment trigger, and it's going to be able to stream the logs directly to your chat. And you'll be able to basically kind of reply to any field logs just like they were messages, and discuss them and work on them together, right? So that's possible with any Netlify team, and with any Vercel team and any Netlify account. So one more thing we're actually working on is a slash menu. So I mean, I'm not sure if you use Discord, but if you use Discord, you can see the bots, and you just hit slash, and you can figure a bunch of commands, right? And basically something that developers and kind of I personally love with Discord slash commands is that everything is just stored keyboard first, right? Like, so you just hit slash, you can just kind of go up and down in the list of different commands that you can select. You just hit enter. It's going to automatically focus you on the text fields. Just hit tab, hit enter, and it's done, right? What you can do with slash commands on Dimension is, for example, if you want to create a Google Meet, right? Just do it slash meet and it's done, right? You can, for example, if you want to create a new deployment, slash deploy, select your repository using the autocomplete and it's done, right? You can do some pretty amazing things directly from your command key menu. One more thing you can actually do is Dimension, since developers do everything from our platform, we're making it incredibly context aware, right? So when developers are managing domains, deployments, etc. on our platform, including code bases, what we want to do is we want to see how we can make the experience better. And how we can do that over here is, let's say, for example, you were previously looking at field build logs on, like, for example, a Vercel or a Netlify deployment, right? Now, when you go ahead and kind of open, so like, let's say, for example, you're on the cloud tab over here, right? And you over here, and you were like viewing the build logs over here, for example, right? And let's say something failed. Now I'm just going to go ahead and, on the drop down, I'm just going to go ahead and open chat over here, and it's going to take me to, my most recent group chat, right? Now, what I can do is, since we understand that you've come from a Vercel deployment and you've been viewing bid logs, and there's also, where we obviously want to go to this depth in which we're also able to understand that there were either warnings or errors in your build log, you can just go ahead and hit slash. I mean, we're actually kind of thinking how we can make this very, very seamless. But when you just hit slash, it's gonna like add like a nice like to your slash command menu. It's like to the top, it's gonna add this thing saying, do you want to link this specific deployment, or do you want to link line 5 to 6, which is where your errors happened, right? And when you're doing that, and we're also trying to extend this, since you have the sidebar over here, you can also just literally drag and drop lines of code, or files of code, right? For example, if you open the Code Explorer and you also have chat open at the same time, drag your file over here. It's done, right? You've instantly dragged or linked a file, or send someone a link to the file. Same thing for an issue. You want to drag an issue or show someone else an issue in chat, you can just drag and drop it over here, right? One more thing we're actually trying to do is, for Vercel build logs or, Netlify build logs, you can just right click on that specific line of code, or that specific build log that failed, right click and create issue on linear, or create issue on GitHub. And that's going to automatically be able to create the issue for you. One more thing I'm excited about is this sidebar over here. This is so we kind of like to call this like a smart sidebar, and why it's smart is because when someone pastes a link to a deployment over here in chat, or an issue over here in chat, it's going to automatically be able to add itself to your sidebar over here. So all the recent activity and every recent deployment, every recent design, etc., is very easily accessible through the sidebar, right? So, and one issue that I've kind of faced, and this is something we're also trying to add to pull request views and issues views on GitHub, is that when people work on issues, this obviously kind of Vercel keeps deploying new deployments as changes are made, right? And unfortunately, these deployment URLs just get lost in like a massive sea of messages and kind of communication, right? And you end up having to like scroll a bunch to be able to find that URL. What we're doing over here is that we just smartly pin the URL to the sidebar. Just click on it, and you're taken to the most recent deployment. You can also we're also adding the ability to be able to view like the 5 most recent deployments if you also want to. So over here, just to give you an idea, you can custom pin resources and things to your chat. For example, I want to pin my Planet Scale database. I can pin it over here. My Postman API collection, I can pin it over here. Deployments that are automatically pinned, I can give them fancy names if I want to. For example, I might have like a front-end deployment on Vercel, landing page deployment on Netlify, a backend deployment on Railway. Might have my designs for the specific kind of team or kind of group chat on Figma. I might have my most recent issues worked on directly from Linear. I'd also be able to manage my code bases and kind of just quickly access that. And also just by the way, with the slash commands, you can also do slash issue, and you can create an issue on Linear. So we also have that level of support. So the slash commands is something that we want to make very, very powerful. One more thing we're actually working on, I just spoke to Tom yesterday about this, and he mentioned, it was very handy when he was working at GitHub, was that, being able to build customized bots and extensions on top of chat is something that we definitely want to do. And we want to make that, something that is a big focus. And to be honest, Dimension is, for instance, since the start, we've really been focusing on, integration and, making sure this is extensible as a tool. And how we plan to do that is, we plan to have like an extension store in which not only can these apps, add integrations, they can also literally extend the front end of our platform, right? So, they can add custom themes for your code editor, custom fonts, etc. So yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, I know that took like 30 minutes, and I'm not sure if you have like a hard stop, but I mean, I would just love to know your thoughts on, what we're building right now. And yeah, just kind of just to see kind of what you think.
So first of all, yeah, it was longer than I expected, but you've stripped a lot, and it's always very impressive with both the design and the implementation. I think is pretty exciting. So I mean, I think you're building a lot, and I think a common pitfall of new founders is thinking they have to build so much product in order to convince people to you, when really you need to be clear about the one thing that kind of works.
Mhm.
The reason I would say that this is not a problem for you right now is because you need some time to figure it out. But what kind of the main thing I was thinking about when watching the demo and um, thinking it through is Instagram. Are you familiar with the story of Instagram?
No, not. I mean, I know that they started as like just like a picture sharing platform, just purely for like photographers and stuff. But honestly, I don't have too much about I don't know much of the background of of Instagram.
They built a platform with like 10 different features, and then they looked at their analytics and found that people were only using one. Then they killed all the other features and they only doubled down on the thing, right, which became Instagram. Um, I think that is what you're about to go through, which is you build a bunch of shit, and you're like, yeah, all these ideas look good, they overall sort of provide a developer experience layer on top of GitHub. No, never sell this. Slack, you're in competition with Slack, you're in competition with GitHub discussions. You're building a lot. I hope you're paying attention to what people really use. There's a difference between what people say, like, oh, that sounds cool, and then they never use. So just keep that in mind. But I think this is all really good exploration and good ideas. And it remains to be seen because you haven't onboarded your users yet. It
Yes.
remains to see how active they are going to be, and I think you should listen to those signals. You have very good intuitions and good design. But now the other part comes in, which is the market will tell you what it wants, and
Yes. Yes.
sometimes you have no idea.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that, right? I think one thing is that since we're building a lot, I think, obviously we want to, I mean, there's a better chance that like one of these really clicks and we can double down on that. I think right now, again, I know that we're building a lot and I know it's ambitious, I mean, ambitious is like the one word I would have used to like describe our platform because it's a lot to build. But
Yeah,
again, I feel like kind of like the lack of us having to actually build our own backend and like our own infrastructure for this makes it like way I mean, obviously it's like a ton of front end and in fact we actually have most of it done already, but it's also like it's just a matter of integrating these other tools. And I've also I think I'm very excited about chat, right? Because I think that I think these other components are required to make chat like an amazing experience, right? Because you can just drag and stop and you can just like drag and drop stuff from your sidebar. You can do so many incredible stuff, like as you build this platform around communication first, and that also acts as a foundation for social in the future, right? Like when people are communicating and collaborating on your platform, that's one of the first kind of yeah, I'd say that's almost like a foundation towards building a more social platform in the future. And yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, and honestly, um, hopefully we can ship, right? Like, I mean, I really want to make sure that we're able to kind of deliver on what we're building right now. I think there is a real possibility that for example we might end up excluding, for example, domain management, right? Because it doesn't fit in, like it doesn't fit in as well as the other components, but it would be a really nice to have, right? So I think based on our timelines, and we plan to ship this in the next 2-3 months. Based on our timelines, we will definitely adapt our product and kind of see, because I don't want to be kind of just building and building and building and kind of never shipping anything, right? I know that's like I know that's like, I mean, I've seen all the memes about like founders like building like a crap ton of features on top, right? So I'm like well aware that like that's a tendency for founders, right? And I know kind of where that comes from, but I'm also making sure that we kind of remove features that we don't need, and just really focus, right? Like one example was that for the permission system we were thinking about like something more complex, and now I just said, hey, like it's an MVP, like we have to ship this, right? So we'd be like we don't just spend kind of weeks and months just building like a permission system. Instead we just have like an admin and a members, which is what PlanetScale uses and works perfectly well, right? So yeah, I mean, like I think in terms of that, I'm definitely going to make decisions that help us ship on time. Like keeping in mind timelines and kind of like just keeping a hard deadline, right? Like a hard stop on development, because we can't just keep building, right? So I'm like well aware of that, and I think I completely agree with you on the fact that we are doing a lot. So yeah, I mean, also just to give you like a quick brief. So currently our team have actually expanded it significantly. We have two full-time developers joining, and we also have two more part-time developers building with us, along with one more full-time developer. So we really expanded our team because I think again, as you can see, this platform is ambitious, right? And obviously we need the team of yeah, we need a team of amazing engineers to be able to do this. So I've also kind of made sure that our resources are also expanded for us to kind of keep the timelines and goals realistic, and something that's actually achievable to us, given our current kind of financial situation, as well as kind of the actual resources we have at our disposal. But yeah, I mean, I just want to kind of put it out there that we do plan to raise a bridge to our seed round over the next few months. Obviously, hopefully in the next 2-3 months we'll be able to have more product to show, right? Obviously, like I could show you the Code Explorer, but I want to show you, the rest of the platform, right? Other components as well. So we are planning to kind of raise some additional capital, and I know you're also like very, very well connected in the space. So if you know anyone you think I should talk to, especially very deep developer tooling founders who, and obviously you need someone who has a good understanding of the development space to understand what they're building. But I mean, if you have if you know anyone you think I should talk to for this, I would really appreciate that. In fact, I'm really, really trying to get connected with Raj, who's obviously the founder and then CEO of Vercel. And that's because with Vercel, I think that Vercel just has such a deep integration with our platform that I mean, we could potentially work together and partner. And for example, kind of one thing I was just roughly brainstorming was that for example, like one serious limitation is that we can't really stream logs and kind of have a very deep level of integration with Vercel unless people are using a team plan, right? And it would be kind of pretty incredible if we were able to show developers what they could do with the team plan on Vercel. And then in turn, kind of it increases Vercel's team plan conversions, and it also increases our kind of our conversions, right? So it's like a win-win on both sides in terms of like if we were to partner with Vercel to maybe offer like an extended trial period or something that as such, we would be able to increase their conversion rates for teams and also make the experience on our platform better, right? So I'm kind of looking to obviously connect with many of these incredible founders with companies like PlanetScale, Superbase, Railway, etc. So, I mean, if you know anyone you can kind of introduce me to, I would absolutely love to chat.
I can introduce you to them, but why haven't you? I, is a big win, right? So I think that's all good. Why haven't you reached out to Guillermo directly?
To be honest, I mean, I guess obviously like it's obviously much easier to not get ghosted when you're introduced by kind of someone. So again, right, I try to go with the warm intro
Looking
first,
for a
and then if sorry.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're looking for a warm intro. I can do that. I can do that.
Yes.
I can do that for Guillermo. Um, yeah, and like the rest are fine. I think the most important one for you is Guillermo, so I can do that for you. Um, uh, let me know when the fundraise is more active. I can introduce you to VCs. Doing that now. I think you need to be onboarding users.
Absolutely.
Because you have a lot of you have a lot of apps. You need some endorsements from users, and then have sort of users. That's hope for you, and just
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I mean, overall, I would just like kind of like to get your, your top level thoughts of, like, do you think this pivot was the right decision? Like, do you see the product,
Oh,
I mean, like, do you, yeah.
that's one follow up I had. You are no longer doing discovery. Is that correct?
So again, right, with discovery, is a future goal. Again, I've seen that the problem is that like when you start building a product, with like the first thing you add is like a social feed. The problem is that unless you have like an existing user base, like it's almost like yeah, it just kills the product, right? And I feel like we have so much over here
It's
that could
called
be really
the cold
powerful.
start problem.
Yeah, the cold start problem, right? And that's very hard to tackle, right? So that's where we kind of said, hey, why don't we build
Create
chat? Because
GitHub.
once people
I don't know. Okay. So by the way, there is a book from that about the code problem from Andreessen Horowitz. I read it. If I was dealing with their problems, I would read that. But I understand. I think I was pretty clear with you the first meeting that I didn't like discovery that much anyway, so it's fine. I still think so. I think the pivot is fine. If anything, I feel like you're not pivoting enough. Um, I feel like the only way that you do that is onboarding users and seeing what they do. It really is like
Absolutely.
so. I'm sure
Absolutely.
you.
No,
I'm sure you're gonna
yeah.
do that. So yeah. So I think you're still pivoting. Don't consider yourself as done.
Got it. No, absolutely. I mean, like once we have, like until we have a customers, until we have feedback, until we have analytics, nothing's final, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, tomorrow we might be like a complete different tool, right? It again depends on the feedback. It depends on what features developers like on our platform. We're obviously working on we definitely want to add kind of enough analytics and tracking for us to be able to understand exactly what developers are using. I think that's obviously critical. And I think also I might kind of reach out in like a month or so to like a few great engineers and also kind of people I know who could hopefully advise me on what metrics I should be able to collect to kind of go ahead and kind of raise the next round, right? Because I know obviously MAUs are important, but like kind of beyond that, right? Like what like to what extent should I work on kind of and to what detail and depth should I work on collecting metrics and understanding what developers are using, right? Kind of like what are the metrics that kind of really matter for developer tools, right? So again, I mean, I would love to learn a bit more. So, I mean, if you also know anyone in the future, I can just kind of, I mean, I would love to talk to them because again, we are nearing. I mean, like currently, to be honest, we have around 9 months runway. But at this point, again, as we're hiring more engineers and we're expanding the team pretty aggressively, I feel like we definitely want to be able to raise sort of a bridge. And also, I mean, more than that, it's just about building these connections with these incredible tools that we kind of want to just integrate with, right? So yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.